We have been doing this right from the beginning because once we saw COVID-19's impact on the countries in the world, we knew that the economy would be badly hit. So we are looking after existing jobs to preserve them. We are looking after the people who are affected, losing incomes or jobs, and we are also making sure that we create new jobs for the future. For the people in jobs, our schemes have spent a lot of government money, like on the job support scheme, to help employers pay for the wages of their workers and keep their workers employed rather than letting them go. And it has been effective so far. And we are also helping the companies, especially the SMEs, who are needing to manage their cash flow, needing to manage their financing, their interest costs, to keep their costs low and keep their companies going. Secondly, we have schemes which help the people whose incomes have been affected or who have lost their jobs. So you've got things like the COVID-19 support grant. We've got a temporary relief fund which help tide individuals over. And for the self-employed in the gig economy who are particularly badly hit, we have the SIRS, the Self-Employed Income Relief Scheme, which has helped tens of thousands or 100,000 people to tide over this. For the longer term, the more sustainable solution is training, getting new jobs, and therefore Skills Future and Skills Future programs, which have been ramped up substantially. Thirdly, we have to create job opportunities. And we're talking about 100,000 job and training opportunities in the public sector and the private sector. The public sector itself, 15,000 job opportunities. And that means opportunities for jobs and opportunities also for training leading on to jobs. And many of these are targeted at workers who are in their 40s and their 50s. And we also have schemes aimed at fresh graduates going into the workforce for the first time in a very difficult year. We have a National Jobs Council led by Senior Minister Tharman, and it is coordinating and driving efforts in the government and also working with the unions, the business associations, and the private sector. To create new jobs, the key is new investments, new projects, and therefore new opportunities to work. And EDB has been doing a remarkable job bringing in new investments, $13 billion of investment commitments in the first 3 months of this year. And it can do this because people have confidence in Singapore, in our politics, in our leaders, in the ministers, in the civil service, in the workforce, which is the best in the world. And we must keep it like that so that we maintain the confidence and we continue to bring in investments and create jobs and a better, secure future for our people.
This is a very important question that the Workers' Party has spent some time thinking about, and we had to adjust our manifesto in the last few months. So the first chapter opens with COVID-19 proposals, but I'll take a step back and look at it from a larger economic standpoint. So, for example, if we look at a much on a broad level, one of the things that we've proposed is an Exim Bank, Export-Import Bank for Singapore. And the real purpose of this is to make Singapore goods and services more attractive for locals, foreigners, anyone. And this really is a case of trying to build up the economy and trying to ensure that our SMEs always have customers coming in. Another proposal that we have made, of course, is controlling industrial rents. And this is really a pain point for many SMEs because rents can really kill the business. And so it's one of the agenda items is really to have a look at this in a more dedicated way going forward. Then, of course, you look at company-specific enhancements that we have sought to consider. Number one, incentivizing Singaporean businesses that actually hire Singaporeans by way of tax relief, tax rebates. That's one important area that we've looked at. The other aspect also looks at the individual. For example, certain industries where we can further tighten employment pass criteria. I think we should do that so that more Singaporeans can take on jobs in those industries. Then, of course, at the individual level, we have proposed for Skills Future education loans for people who really want to change industries, but they need to be retrained in a much more significant way. These are some of the ways that we've put forward to secure jobs in the months to come. And I certainly hope that we have a greater debate on some of these issues in Parliament.
Yeah, this is the how we manage, as I said earlier, the COVID-19 will determine our jobs. Because I presume that we want to get people to come here and invest to get the jobs that we want. But for me, I'm thinking that is more like a up approach. I want a ground approach. I would like to encourage that we should really relook at some of our rules and regulations pertaining to our businesses in Singapore. We have to go back to the drawing board and see whether our current rules and regulation is affecting the new environment. And if we keep on sticking to the old rules and old regulations, I wonder whether our businesses here can really manage or not. To me, I feel that is a very, very important area. Then, of course, I think we have to look at the people who are working at home now. How are they going to manage at home? Do we provide things for them, supporting? So I'm also thinking of maybe at the void decks, we have all this, they call this the home shared facilities, so that while working at home, if they need some support, they will be able to go down, maybe at the void deck. They can have facilities for them to help them to do all the work at home. I mean, things like this. So we must not think only getting jobs from outside. We must try to get all the jobs. It must come from ground up. Get those in fact, we should support them. Some of the money that we have actually from our reserves, that we should look into all these areas, how to support our local industries. Because remember, as I said, what we expect, those jobs that are coming, that we want to create, are primarily will depend on the global activity. And with this global slowdown, with this breakdown in this globalization, I worry whether they really want to come or not. So unless we think out of the box and depend on all that sort, I'm not so sure whether we can get the jobs really we want or not. So we got to make sure that our local base is strong.
As I mentioned a little while ago, this whole program of allowing retrenched workers to make sure that they are able to band together and, try to come up with some kind of a business plan that will really stimulate pushing for an entrepreneurial class development in Singapore, which we are so sorely lacking in. Now, as far as jobs, livelihoods are concerned, what we need to do is to make sure that, we lower costs at this point. And by that, I mean putting more money into the pockets of Singaporeans. If you provide retrenchment benefits, right, for retrenched workers, you're really telling them that, hey, with this money, go out and they're going to have to spend and pay bills and buy groceries and so on and so forth. No retrenched worker is going to take the money and fly out to Paris for a holiday, right? So what we're going to do is helping businesses, local businesses to thrive, stimulate the economy. The same thing for the program for the retirement income, I beg your pardon, for the elderly, to give 80% of the lower income groups of retirees $500 monthly income. This money can then be used by these retirees in the local economy, and it really will help to stimulate the economy. And when businesses begin to be able to survive and thrive, hopefully sometime in the future, they're going to be able to then sustain jobs and not go bankrupt and then have to retrench even more workers, and then you get the spiral downwards. So we're very concerned, and these are two of our plans to make sure that we continue to put money into the pocket of Singaporeans so that we can sustain jobs and even create more of them.